Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good day, everyone. Hopefully, you're all doing well today. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Haidar Auriga Maulana. I am currently 15 years old and I'm from Ukhuwah Islamic Junior High School. And today I'm going to talk about how Corona has, in a sense, digitalized the way we learn. The pandemic started around 1 or 2 years ago, and it has affected our lives in many ways. From the way we study, the way we order food, and the way we study. Wait, no, I already said the way we learn. The way we learn. As the one area which has certainly seen considerable changes as a result of COVID-19 is the education sector. When schools and universities around the world were forced to close their doors to prevent its spread, alternative methods of studying or through technologies had to be adopted almost overnight. Online learning became an urgent necessity rather than an option. Of course, e-learning had been included from way before. It's just not as popular and seen more as an add-on rather than a necessity. Rather than necessity. Never to the all-encompassing extent witnessed at the height of the pandemic. Teaching staff internationally were forced, often with little warning, to familiarize themselves with a range of online platforms in order to deliver entire courses on a fully remote basis. In turn, online platforms like Google innovated to meet this new demand, quickly incorporating functions such as video conferencing to their classroom service. Pre-pandemic, educational institutions had the option to incorporate digital learning as part of their offer, but it was often seen as a bonus or the exception to the rule, attractive mainly to part-time or foreign students seeking more flexible learning arrangements. COVID-19 undoubtedly represents a critical turning point. The prospect of returning to campus-only courses as the norm after this experience seems ever less likely. Critics have suggested that this disruption to the norm was much needed, although it obviously caused some controversies. The mixed feelings and opinions surrounding online learning suggest that post-pandemic hybrid model may be the most effective for educational institutions and students alike. Some of these changes are positive, and some of these changes are also negative. Some of the positive changes, for example, is that students can now pace themselves with their work. They no longer feel rushed like they were in school. And they no longer have to go to school. Since if you go to school every day and attend classroom, listening to the teacher and writing whatever they write on the whiteboard, it gets repetitive sometimes. Students can often feel burnt out by this process. But with digital learning, students can now take their studies by their own pace. They can process the materials that they're studying way more easily and way more, well, they can pace themselves, as I said. Some of the negative changes that the Corona has made, some of the negative changes that this has made is that students may slack off with their studies because they get distracted too easily with the internet. Sometimes they get a notification from like their favorite video, and they get distracted by that and ended up not learning anything or not studying anything. Some of it is also they spend way too much time on their games and end up not studying again. Also, some students doesn't have easy access to technology and don't have the fortune to study online and attend Zoom classes, for example. So, changes to the student experience. Those who did move into university residence have hardly enjoyed the typical student experience. Isolation has in many cases replaced the standard freshman activities which are designed to encourage social bonding and relationship building. For many students, separation from their families at this difficult time alongside their disappointment at unmet expectations in academic life has had an impact on their mental health. Universities have been varied in their response to this crisis, and as a result, the debate regarding the degree to which educational institutions bear responsibility for their students on a personal level has been reignited. That's all I have to say for today. Any questions? Sorry. Yes.
Thank you very much. Okay, my question will be, as you mentioned, because of
Yeah.
Students
Yes.
to learn
On.
everything digital.
Yes.
But I don't know if you have heard about it, but
Mm-hmm.
it's something that we are forced to
Ah,
have.
yes.
And,
Mm.
some students they don't have this access
Yeah.
to digital learning
Mm-hmm.
platform or ways to access that in any way possible. So do you think this kind of forced digitalization is something good or something bad?
Well, in my opinion, there are good effects to it, and there are, of course, downsides to it. Students, the downside is that some of these students, they don't have the fortune to study online because they don't have, for example, maybe the access to internet or the money to buy these technologies. Maybe if we, talk to the government about it and maybe maybe come to an agreement to maybe give the students some facilities, some of these facilities to study with, maybe it can be a good thing and can stay for a while. So in my opinion, overall, it's a good thing, but of course, for some, it's a trouble and of course has negative effects to them. So, yeah. Yes.
Haidar, thank you so much for your presentation. Actually, it's a point. I get your point, but you might be listening for yourself when you're teaching to yourself.
I'm sorry.
So my perspective has been despite listening and face yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you're nervous.
100%.
So I get that. But yeah. But how overall, the pronunciation is there, the structure is there, even though some are correct as I use.
Yeah, France.
But the idea is clearly related and it is also engaging.
Yes.
So that's great. Thank you. Also, my question would be a simple one, and it's going to be about you.
About
You
me.
mentioned that it's digitalized due to the COVID, right? We have a digital learning, and you experienced that for 2 years.
Yeah, around 2 years.
Right, correct. Are you coming back to school now already?
Oh yeah, we are already coming back from school ever since like a few months ago.
Good. Now that you have your own thing, you experience it yourself on the way when you learn digitally and then you do face to face. I want to ask, which one do you prefer?
That's a hard question.
Why?
Well, I do like using my phone for most stuff. I gotta say, I do prefer digital learning. I find myself processing things way more easily, even though it's a bit hard when there are some things that I don't understand. Like, for example, if I don't understand the way to do this mathematic question, I usually just ask the teacher right away if there's like a quiz or a practice sheet. But if it's through digitally, you usually gotta wait for the teacher's answer if you're using apps like WhatsApp or stuff like that. So, but I still prefer digital learning because I can take things by my own pace and just, answer things, take my time with the questions most of the time. So yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Haidar. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Haidar. It's a nice presentation, and you have a very clear. Just have to utilize it.
Pace myself, yeah.
Keep yourself better. Yes,
Thank you.